Welcome to the To Your Success podcast, hosted by Johnsen and Elin Solheim. Each bi-weekly episode takes a deep dive into how success and freedom is created and how you can start living the life you truly want now. Krista was top CEO of international companies for more than 20 years. He's done business in most parts of the world. Now he is an international success mentor, helping people and organizations to be successful. Elin and Krista are partners in life and business. They truly live what they teach every day. They sail their beautiful 43-footer around the world while helping clients all over the world. They are proof that you can get all the freedom you've ever wanted. They truly live what they teach every single day.
Hello everyone and warm welcome to this episode of To Your Success podcast. I am mentor Krista Johnsen and with me today is
Elin Solheim, as always, your wife and business partner.
Hi Elin, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. It's been like 2 minutes since the last time we met. So
yes.
Yeah.
That's
but it's cool. We are on different sides of the same wall.
Same wall.
Yeah.
We are back in Norway in our house. Looking out on wonderful weather actually, and the spring is coming here, so we are excited about being here while our boat is safely secured somewhere in the Mediterranean.
Yeah. So today we are going to talk about trusting yourself actually, how important it is to trust yourself, and how worry, doubt and fear is a part of everybody's life and the way. I think to explain this the best, it's can you please tell a story about? I remember the story when we were out sailing, and this describes. Just start. Tell us about worry, doubt, and fear.
As you said, worry, doubt, and fear, and then trust yourself, and they are linked. Absolutely. We can say that there are two parts of you. You know, every life is in partnership. You have the physical body and the brain, and you have the mind, and then you also have you can either call it soul, or you can call it higher self, or the better version of you, essential silent partner. It can also be, and fear is related to that. Follow your heart and intuition. Everything else is secondary, Steve Jobs said. And it's very, very strong. Follow your heart and intuition. You know, you have 40,000 brain cells in your heart. You have these cells in all vital organs in the body, actually, these brain cells, where they are identical, they are constructed the same way. And you have that. And for me, and sometimes we can call it the gut feeling as well. And worry, doubt, and fear is a part of the process. And as Abraham Hicks say, fear is fear, and that is all there is to it. Right? Fear is just an idea that your excuses have accepted. It is something that you have trained yourself to be really good at thinking about if you have strong fears, and that varies from person to person.
And most time it isn't even real. The fear isn't even real. No.
You know, in the choice between thinking about everything that can go right, or thinking about everything that can go wrong, I absolutely choose to think about everything that can go right.
Yeah, me too.
But the story you said, and that's related to us being out sailing. We sailed from first, when we left Norway sailing, we sailed first from Oslo, the Oslo area where we live, and then directly up to London. We went up all the way to the Thames River. And I remember we did some mistakes there. You remember that angry woman that called me on channel 16 on the VHF, and that I could actually hear that she rolled her eyes on me. She was like, and I did a mistake. I mean, that's how it is. I was on the wrong side of the river and a big boat.
I think I did that mistake actually, because I was just following the signs, and I missed the sign.
Yeah, but that's okay. Shit happens.
Yeah,
we are still here on the boat, and it all worked out as always. So, but then after London, we sailed then out one of my dreams was to see the white cliffs of Dover, and we did that at night. Wonderful. And we had a wonderful Gennaker sail, which is this big balloon thing that we have with wonderful colors out the English Channel, and we continued down far out at sea, down the Spanish coast and the Portuguese coast. And the reason why we were so far from shore was because there are some killer whales, orcas, that has the nasty habit of biting the rudder off 150 to 200 sailboats a year. And we didn't want to be one of those, because when you lose your rudder, that's distress. But of course, and we planned, and we have weather forecast. We stayed 8 days out at sea with a very good friend of ours on board. So we were 3 on board. And then we met shitty weather. And it was not supposed to be shitty weather. It could be windy. We knew the wind would come, but we didn't know that the sea would be that rough. So we had really rough sea in the bow, and it was 5,000 meters deep where we were. So it's not supposed to be like this kind of sea, but it happened. And well, the first thing that happened was, and we couldn't sail because we had certain time pressure, because our friend, he was going to a wedding in Rome the next week, and it's like one of the things you don't want to do when you go out at sea is to have time pressure. But I accepted that as a captain, and that put a big challenge on us and me. So halfway across the Bay of Biscay, our engine stopped. I was asleep. Our friend Per was at the helm, and I could hear in a dream like the speed of the engine was going up and down and up and down, and then it died. And I woke up, and Per came down and said, "Christer, the engine stopped."
I remember the sound, and I thought it was so nice and quiet finally. Finally, I can get some sleep.
Yeah.
I never worry.
No, you never worry. So anyway, that was the first thing that happened, like a warning. Oh, and then, well, what did we do? We had to change course and roll out some of the sails, because we were going with engine against that bad weather. And you went on watch, and we started to fix the engine, and we found out that the engine was okay. It was just the fuel that was bad. And then we continued. So next day we fixed that. The challenge was that we had to, due to the bad weather, we have to go so much for engines, so many hours, and we burn about 5 liters per hour, and we don't have unlimited fuel on board, even though we have huge tanks. So, and we have a lot of diesel fuel on board. So, but actually we were running out of fuel. So we couldn't follow the original track that I had planned. And inside us, we knew there were killer whales biting the rudder of the boats, right? So we're going into this dilemma, running out of fuel. Orcas can take out the boat, and we have to get to shore. And we couldn't sail because we had bad time. This is a classic mistake by a captain, right? And then I got more and more afraid, right? Because you never know exactly how many liters of fuel you have left. And I was like, well, maybe we have 100 liters left, or maybe we have 50 liters left. And I got really afraid. And then the last day, and I think the instrument showed that we were almost running out of diesel. Mm-hmm. Hi, this is Christer. Thank you for watching and listening to our podcast. We really appreciate that. As you see, we love sharing how you can live the life you truly want, and we also love sharing how we live this every day. You know what changed my life is that I did one thing. I signed up for a strategy call with my first mentor. That was the one thing that changed my life. And that is why we offer you to do exactly the same thing with me and my team as well, because we know that call, those 30 minutes can be the thing that changes your life. So if you go to our website, christerjohnsen.com, up in the right corner, you will find a button to click on. Click on that button and book a strategy call with us. It might be the best thing you ever done to change your life. Have a wonderful day. And now back to the podcast. And luckily the weather was clearing up, so it was not that bad wind. It didn't rain anymore, and we had beautiful sun, and the sea was getting calmer. We were still really far out from land. We were like almost 300 kilometers away from land because of the killer whales. And then we slowly went closer and closer to land, but I was so afraid, and I didn't know what to do. And then when I went up in the cockpit, my watch started at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I looked up and I said, I don't ask for help very often, but now how can we get to this? What can I do now? And I asked myself, or I prayed, looked up and I said, and the answer came in 2-3 seconds. It's like, boom, there it was. You have everything you need. And I get emotional thinking about it because it made such a big emotional impact on me. I said, I have everything I need. And I looked around and said, okay, we have a sailboat here. Boat is still floating. The wind is actually really nice, so let's sail. It was still headwind, so we had to go like crossing. So we had to go really far out at sea and then in and out and in. And then we had to check the weather forecast and also the Orca forecast, which is a new thing now, like the kilowatt forecast. But there are certain chat groups, so you have observations, and we have Starlink on board, so we're online all the time. The key thing is that the answer came immediately when I asked my higher self, or asked the universe, what is the best thing to do? You have everything you need. So we started sailing, right? And then we had to be kind of cautious because of the killer whales. My focus all the time was the goal. We were going into a beautiful city called Cascais, which is at the tip. It's near the capital of Portugal, and we're going in there, going into the harbor. And my mental focus was us having pizzas and 3 cold beer and sharing. And said, this was a great trip, right? We made this.
And we actually had the most amazing day of sailing.
We had a wonderful day of sailing, right? We really enjoyed it, right? Because then we knew, okay, let's do it. This is what we have to do. And you took the boat into Cascais, and we didn't know how much fuel we had, so we were like going really slow. First, of course, we made full speed across what we could call Orca Lane, which is where all the killer whales are, and they didn't attack us, luckily, but we knew they were quite close. And then into Cascais, we were like going on low revs on the engine, and when we came in, and then we filled diesel in the morning, and we had 30 liters left. That is not much. That is way below the comfort zone, but we made it, and that was the point. And then we had a nice shower, and then we woke up and had pizza, a nice Italian pizza in Portugal, and really, really good beer, which was the goal of the day. So the point of telling that story is that, ask yourself questions. Worry, doubt, and fear is a part of the process. Worry, doubt, you can say that fear is a clear emotion you have. It's a clear signal from the higher you, from the universe, from whatever you call it. It's time to move. It's time to change. It is not time to lean back and say, be paralyzed by fear. No, the other way. It's out of the comfort zone, into the fear zone, through the fear zone, and into the learning zone. You can imagine how much we learn at that trip. We will never run out of fuel again.
No.
And we will always have clean fuel after the engine stops. But that's the learning, right?
Yeah. And we probably will trust ourselves even more.
Yeah, trust the higher self. And that, ask yourself these questions. Start asking. First of all, set a goal. Not a wish, not a hope, not a dream. Not I wish to do that. No, this is what I'm doing. Right? When you have emotionally accepted it, that this is what I'm going to do, no matter what. You have made that committed decision. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sail around the world. I'm going to build this fantastic business. I'm going to be financially free. I'm going to be the greatest trader in the world, whatever it is.
Having beer and pizza.
Yeah, that was a good goal. It's not a life goal, but it was a good goal.
Yeah.
Then ask yourself that question, what is the easiest and fastest way for me to get there? And then trust the answer. Because it is in a dialogue, right? When we work with the universal laws, we use law of vibration, law of attraction, law of perpetual transmutation of energy, all these laws. And they work all the time. Basically the universe always gives you what you want. No, not what you want, what you expect. You never get what you want, you always get what you expect, right? I didn't think about what I want. I didn't focus on running out of fuel. I focused on us coming in there, right? Focus on the goal. Focus on the goal, and we made it. We made it. So. And this worry, doubt, and fear, which in my body then kicks in as frustration. Frustration is the feeling of growth. Right? It is for you, Elin, upgrading. It's frustration, right? Yeah, it is. It's like not having all the plans you as a melancholic want to have, And you always say that we make a plan and we never follow it. Well, that sail trip down to Portugal was an example of that, but that was the environment and the weather that we had to deal with. For me as a choleric, I always want to be in control, and frustration kicks in when I'm not in control. I don't know how, but how is the wrong question. So frustration is actually the feeling of growth, And you showed me a great interview with a woman that said that, to reach your goal and growth is just a question of standing in frustration and how long you can cope, how long you can deal with standing in frustration. So deal with it, because frustration is a part of the process. We go up and a little bit down, and then we grow up to a better version of ourselves, and we go a little bit down. We meet resistance, right? And then we have to fight it. I mean, doctors say that it's really painful for the baby to be born. They say it's actually the most painful thing that we experience as human beings. It's one of the most painful things. And I can imagine that, but I assume it's quite narrow and you have to get that out. But it's the same thing, When you are worried, then do as Elin often do. Say, no, I cannot think about that because I don't want it.
Focus on the goal instead.
Yeah. And then excuses. It's not ready yet. No, I have to wait. Maybe I just have to think about it, or the time is not perfect, or I'm not sure about the money.
Because
excuses will only hold you back.
It will be painful to spend the money. It will be painful to change. It will be painful to just think about it. Then it's about time to do it.
Then it's time to about to do it, yeah. And it is when we start to do the things we are afraid of, start to do the things we procrastinate on, start to do the things that we don't want to do, but that we know we should do, because then we grow, then we become a better version of ourselves. We should do that, right? We should focus on that.
Yeah.
Bob Proctor said that the worst thing that can happen to a person with a goal is to get an excuse. Even worse, to find a good excuse. Hate your excuses. Just let them go. Let them go and trust yourself. Okay. So any final words, Elin? Something you want to add? It was a good sail trip.
It was a very good sail trip, and I would do it again.
Yeah.
Because even as scary as things can be sometimes in your life, and even how much pain it will take you to get there, in the end, when you reach that goal, I would do it again anytime.
Yeah. It is. And new you, the person you want to be,
it's on the other side.
In your goal is on the other side of that fear. Yeah. And sometimes people say, well, that's easy for you to say. Trust me. I know what fear is. I know it very, very well.
Yeah, we both do. So
thank you for listening. Please subscribe. If you want to have our help, go to kristajohnsen.com and you can book a strategy call, talking with me or Elin or one of our coaches. We are more than happy to help you, because everything we do is to your success, and success is that you live the life you truly want. So to your success.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of To Your Success podcast. Please leave us a rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. For more information on how Krista's mentoring programs can help you in your own life, visit kristajohnsen.com.